morning, students. Welcome to your computer class. This is Sunny, and I'm your computer teacher. So, students, today we will proceed further with our chapter. So, we were learning about computer virus, and our today's topic is malware. Before we proceed further, there is one thing which I would like to discuss first, and that is related to chapter 1. So I request all of you to open page number 16. So there is a small correction which we have to do. So while discussing the answer of fill in the blanks, the fourth one, the question was in binary addition 1 plus 1 equals 2. So we have written it 1 there. So we will also have to mention that 0 carry over 1. So our answer is 0 carry over 1, right? I hope all of you would have done this correction. So let's again turn to page number 119, and we'll discuss about malware today. So before that, let's do a quick recap of what we have learned till now. So what we have learned till now is we know what is a computer virus, how this virus can make its copies and can attach itself in the program, disrupts normal operation of a computer, infect and destroy data, enters into some other's computer without somebody else's permission. So we learned about the full form of virus, which was vital information resource under siege, right? That's the full form of virus, and that's where the abbreviation virus has been derived from. We learned about Richard Skranta, who wrote the first computer virus Elk Cloner in 1982, and it attached to Apple II computer. So every 50th time when the computer used to boot up, there there was a small poem which was getting displayed on the screen, and the words were something like that: Elk Cloner, the program with personality. Now these viruses, now Elk Cloner or Richard Skranta created a virus which was not creating any harm, right? If you actually see at the 50th restart, it was just displaying a message, and after that it just got vanished. So but today's virus are uh, much more dangerous when what compared to Richard Skranta did. Now, coming back, uh, what is we also discussed about the difference between computer virus and biological virus. Biological virus, as you can see, the kind of havoc it has created in the entire world. The computer virus, to a certain extent, is equally responsible for that. So there are large organizations which have to spend billions and billions of dollars in maintaining the network every year. So in the name of network security, there are millions and billions of dollars or rupees being spent by every organization just to ensure that the network remains protected. Now, this also doesn't mean that most of the people you would have seen, they once they install antivirus in the computer, they think that once I have an antivirus in my computer is 100% immune to any kind of virus, malware, or any other dangerous or malicious software. So, to get a clarification here, if this software or the antivirus were so capable, then the companies would not have spent millions of dollars every year from their profit to secure the network. Rather, they would have just installed an antivirus in every system which they were using. So it is not 100% safe. Next thing is we learned about what a virus can do and what a virus can't do. Now, a virus can infect a Word, Excel, or any programs in our system. It can infect all the attached copies of our email and get copied in the disks and pen drives, and in it spreads from one computer to another. It slows down the computer and even stops it completely. Now here we discussed about the pen drive, which was very responsible for spreading of virus. So generally, even in your home system, I would strongly recommend you to reduce the usage of pen drives. So if you probably normally you would have exchanged a pen drive with your friend or any of your family members, and if you insert it in the system and start using it, there are very high chances that there might be a virus in the pen drive, and it will get transmitted to your computer. So avoid using pen drive as far as possible. Now, what a virus can't do, uh, there were only two things which it can't do. The first thing is the CD-ROM, where it cannot copy any program into CD-ROM, and the second thing was that it cannot corrupt any of the system hardware. Now, what were the symptoms? In system symptoms, we discussed that what were the brief lines between the symptoms and how a technical problem with the system can also get confused with the technical problem or with the virus infection. Now here there were few symptoms like system getting slow or hanging or crashing or running very slow or taking long times to load the program, or when you double click on the icon or a file, it doesn't open up. If the file open up, you see some kind of unusual things there. So all these things were considered as the symptoms of computer virus. Then we learnt about the types of computer virus. In types of computer virus, I spoke about the program file virus, how these viruses infect executable files like .com, .exe, .sys, .dll, which means they were more into the program which is installed in the computer, and they were affecting them. So what it was doing there, it was making copies of itself or replicating itself and infecting the files on the disk. Now the examples of these programs were Sunday and Cascade. Next thing we discussed about was the boot virus. In boot virus, we discussed about how it affects the master boot record of the computer, right? In master boot record, it changed the details of the information which was kept by the system. I also explained about how the booting process takes place and what is the complete booting system, right? How to boot a system. Now here what it was doing, the boot virus continuously keeps loading the program into the memory, and it actually, with that, when there are 2 minutes of load on the memory, the system used to slow down and or either used to shut down the computer because generally it used to hang. Next thing we learnt about was the macro virus. In these, the programming languages, right, the uses another application macro programming languages to distribute themselves. Now generally the targets were Microsoft Word, Excel and PowerPoint. So whatever you saved there, whatever information you saved there, and when you tried to look into it, it had a complete different information. So what was there, probably at night when you prepared a program or a file, and morning when you get up and you power on the computer, if there is a macro virus, then the entire data which is there in your Excel or Word will get corrupted. So these were the features of the macro virus. So there is also the Melissa virus, which was released in 26th March 1999, and it was the example of macro virus. So what it did was it used to infect macros documents such as MS Word 97 and 2000. So you can understand how way back we are going with this virus. So it generally propagated by emailing itself to the first 50 addresses in your address book. So Microsoft Outlook is an email program in which you save the addresses, uh, like how we save our phone numbers in our directory in a contact list. So this how the details were saved, and it used to send it to the first 50 addresses. Like in your phone book, the first 50 phone numbers, similarly in the address book, the first 50 email addresses, it used to send the email. So we'll start our day. So today we'll start with worms. Now, what are worms? Worm is an example of a malware, and worms are related to network. Now, a computer, we know generally there are, when a network is formed, it can be two computers or more than two computers. So what this worm used to do is it used to get into the network, and then automatically it used to spread from one system to another system. And when it used to spread, it used to infect all the computers, and for this the no human actions were required. It used to spread automatically by itself. But a worm, uh, it didn't require any human intervention. So it used to replicate, it used to duplicate the file without the knowledge of the user. Now this, the severity was so serious that it used to reduce the speed of the network, and it was even capable of bringing down the entire network. So these were worms. Next is our Trojan horse. Now, Trojan horse, these are something which appears to be very useful, but it causes damages once it is executed or installed. Now, you would have seen that sometimes people using a very designer kind of a cursor, or a wallpaper which has got a fish moving from one point of screen to the other point of the screen, or some moving graphics, or the menu bar, the slice bar which you can see just below the menu bar, the designer menu bars. So what generally these is, these could be an example of Trojan horse. This might look useful where people install that in your computer, but at the back end of the system it might do some other job which might not be in the interest of the user. So after getting installed, uh, it it takes unauthorized access of your computer and gives the control of your computer to someone else. Now they are very dangerous because your system can be remotely controlled by someone else who is sitting on the other part of the world. Now when the person has got an access, there are also chances that he may go ahead and take control, take all the your personal information, your photographs and your pictures, whatever you have saved there, your family pictures, your videos, if you have anything, your bank details, your financial details, your personal details, your address, all these informations can be compromised because of Trojan horse. So we need to be very careful with Trojan horse. Now, worms and Trojan horse are like viruses and may harm the data or affect the performance and the speed of the computer. Next is the spyware. Now, spyware refers to a computer program that secretly gathers information about the user and relates it to the advertiser and other interested parties. They are also called as spy bots or tracking software. Now, generally, spyware is installed with two in two conditions. The first condition is when the user downloads something from the internet. So it is very important that when we are downloading something from internet, we need to ensure that we are downloading the right thing and from the right certified websites. Downloading things from unauthorized websites, or some unknown websites, for example, which doesn't start with www or which doesn't have an https in it, might cause damage to your computer. Now the user clicks on something in a pop-up. Now normally you would see that you sometimes you're browsing internet and you get a pop-up that you are the 50th winner of 1 lakh rupees. If you click right now, you will get $1 million. If you click on this, you can win a vacation. Avoid doing that, because these are suspicious pop-ups and might have a spyware in it. Now spyware consumes a lot of memory of your computer because it has got a program which is running in the background. So when you have an internet connection, you might be browsing Google, you might be browsing some other educational websites, but in the background it is also using the internet and the memory to collect all the information in your system, and it is relaying it to the interested parties, so which might create, you might feel that your system is very slow, and sometimes you might also find very difficulty in working on your computer. The biggest problem with spyware is that it steals your information and misuses your computer. So this is very very dangerous, and we need to be really careful with spyware. So students, we will stop here, and let's make a note of our homework. Our homework would be answer the following question 2, which is what do you mean by Trojan horse, and question number 3, which is explain the term spyware. So these two questions we will do it in a computer notebook, and if in case if you have any questions or clarification, feel free to reach me through the comment section. Thank you students, and stay safe.